So, Min, tell us how you went from working at the log cabin, right? Teaching basketball and helping youth with homework after school. How did you go from that to working at Boeing?
Yeah, so I know I want to start working at Boeing. So what I did was I went and got a electrical certificate that was provided by I forgot the program that was offered for English as their second language. It's in the White Center as well. It's literally right down the block, right next to AutoZone. There is a community center there for English speaker helper in a sense. I did that for 6 months. I think it cost about like $700. Finished the certificate. I know I want to get into Boeing, right? So I know my route. So I went to work at Carlisle as an electrician. Worked there, built up my experience, and then worked there for 2 years. Then I applied for Boeing. I got in, and I've been at Boeing for about 4.5 years. I started out as a mechanic. I became a TL. I moved around a lot, sadly, but I became a team lead in Boeing. And then I went to manufacturer rep, which basically support the production. So I kind of hopped back. And then my current role is I'm a manufacturer operation analyst. What that means is I support the production, analyze the data, and trying to find a trend of defects or a trend of opportunities that we can work on to find a solution that would help the production. That's where I'm at.
Wow,
again,
that's a lot.
Again, I didn't know I was the only one.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
Awesome.
And
yeah.
At any time, if anyone has any questions for Min, please put them in the chat or break in and let me know if you have questions.
I also like to toss this out there just in case if anyone is interested. I'm also helping people with their resume just to get into Boeing. So if you have a resume, if you're interested in working at Boeing, Jody have my email. You guys more than welcome to get it from her. So if you have any mechanical experience, like working with your car, working at home with any electrical stuff, yeah, feel free to get my email from Jody, and then we can go from there. On that, yeah.
Min, so how did you get introduced to Boeing from working at that first business? How did you first apply to Boeing? Or how did you find a job to apply for?
So I go to Boeing.com /career, and then I look up all the entry jobs, and then I apply for all of it. And then yeah, I got called for mechanical job interview. I failed the first one really bad, super bad. Because Boeing does a structure interview, and I have never done structure interview before.
What is a structure interview? What does that mean?
So structure interview is being like they give you a situation, and then you have to come up. They call it a STAR, right? It's situation. What did you do, and what was the result? So I have never done it. I have no clue. And then, but second time I was able to prepare more. So yeah.
Okay, so for those interviews at Boeing, you may need to be prepared to do some problem solving.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's always come down to 4 or 5 topics, right? We're talking about diversity, we're talking about safety, we're talking about quality, we're talking about how you handle stress, we're talking about how you handle in diverse environment. So if you have like some answer line up for those, you know, now that I'm a little more experienced on that's what mainly they talk about. And of course, they talk about your job experience, right? So that's one thing.
So Minh, you brought up something, you shared something that I think is really important to share with the group, is that your first time around was difficult and you weren't prepared for it, but you didn't let that stop you.
Nope.
So you continue to apply.
Yep.
And then you knew what you needed to prepare for, and you went into that second interview ready, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that where you were successful with the job offer?
Yes. So the first time I couldn't even speak, to be honest. You know, not only not being prepared, as you guys can tell, English is my second language. So, you know, like I'm a little shy when it comes to speaking. Jody might not seem like it, but when you're in a confined
I would not
space,
describe you as shy, man.
I know when you're in a confined space with 2 or 3 people, it's a little different than you out there with your friend, right? So I was nerve-wracking, you know. I'm like, am I saying the right word? But you're right. I didn't stop because I know that like I want to work at Boeing. That was my goal. That's my ultimate goal. So of course my wife helped me out as well, you know. So she helped me prepare for the interview. But at the end of the day, it's all up to you, right? Because if you go and prepare, you have maybe one or 2% higher than you're not prepared. So yeah, prepare for your interview.
So, so that training program, do you feel like that helped you prepare to be successful with that second interview, to be able to talk about the completion of that training program you did?
Yes, it's definitely helped as you know, like some kind of experience. But now I don't think you need it. Back then I was just more so, that was the route I was taking. But right now I don't think you need to do that 7 months of experience, because Boeing does a really great job of training people. So they can plug you from the street, come in, and they would train you from the 0 to up. And training usually lasts about 3-4 months, and then you have to pass along the way to get to the floor. So getting hired is the first step, and then but you also have to pass all your training.
Minh, are you paid while you're training?
Yes. Yeah. Luckily, that is the thing now. I heard back then it wasn't. So people will be going to Boeing.
Yeah, it never used to be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So you know about that. Yeah. The old timers, they always tell me about it. So yeah.
and
How
I'd like
has-
to,
Oh, sorry. Go
sorry.
ahead, Jojo. No, go ahead.
as with any job when you're preparing, you always want to do your research on the company and you want to be prepared for the interview. And if you need help, there are plenty of programs out there that can help you prepare. And Jody and the Teen Center and YWCA and, you know, myself and everybody are, you know, we're all here to help. So if you need help with, you know, resumes or with interviewing techniques, you know, reach out. There's people that will help you for free.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jojo. Minh, so you've told us a little bit about moving around since you started at Boeing, that you've moved up into some different positions.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the training opportunities that you've received since you started that entry-level position at Boeing, how you've moved up to, like, say, team leader, and then this new job in quality?
Yeah. So I'll say, well, one of the best thing about Boeing is the mentorship program. That's its biggest blessing. This, right? So outside of training, you can have all kind of training you want. So Boeing. So for example, I'll just give an example. If you start out on the manufacturer side, you will be an IM, right? That's his union that's support the manufacturer side. Right now, if you go in, you can train, you can go to school, you can sign up for any type of classes, certificate for free. But you have to pass with a C. It's a program we call Learning Together program. So it's Boeing support you for that. Regarding myself, we have a lot of internal classes that you can sign up for to get trained on. So when I went from mechanic to become a team lead, I have to go through a training program, I think for about 2 days, just teaching you basically like the basic on how to become a team lead. But then at the same time, there is a lot of internal programs that you can take on whatever you want, right? So if you want to go to human resource, there is internal training for that you can take free. If you want to go into like something I do, there is something like a different route for it. And there is people in there also to help you. They call career advisors. So they will kind of map out your road, basically, just depend on where you want to go. Yeah, but there's a lot of training, but it's all free. And what you put out is what you get in. So in a sense.
That's great. Thank you for explaining, Minh.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions for Minh about how he got started at Boeing?
Again, I can't believe I'm the only one.
I'm sorry, Minh.
Next time
It proved to be tougher than I thought.
Next time I'll bring more people for sure.
Minh, we're thrilled to have you. You
We
have
are
all the
thrilled to
answers
have
we
you.
need.
Right?
Just want to comment, but then I also have a question for him. Just want to let you know, Minh, I actually placed one of my clients at Boeing, so she's really enjoying it. So maybe you might get to work with her one of these days. Yes.
Yeah, just link me up with her. You know, we can get to chat.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And then my question for you is that what would be your advice to some of the youth that don't speak English, but like they really would like to somehow get into Boeing? Because I've been told from my family and some communities that some people have a hard time getting to Boeing because it's either getting in by through referrals or getting in by someone that they know. So what would be your advice to the youth if they are really very passionate and want to go into Boeing right after college or high school?
Yeah, so well, you mentioned college or high school, right? So they have to have certain degree of capability to speak English, right? To a certain extent. So I'll say English, focus on English first. Funny story, I just have 3 families from Vietnam that came over, my family. So I have 2 nephews that want to go into Boeing, and I told them the same thing. As long as you focus on, if you're able to communicate, like what you and me doing right now, it shouldn't be a problem. And then now, what do they want to do after that? You know, of course, go to job fairs like this, or try and find someone and then, you know, help them with the resume and then prep them for the interview.
Okay. And then you mentioned internal classes. So that's given to employees who are within Boeing, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I can tell my client that so she can take some classes for herself.
Yeah, there are ton. When I say ton, I mean ton of classes that she can take for free, and then yeah, she can advance her career however she wants.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Minh, we had a question in the chat. It says, sorry, not a question directly about Boeing. Don't be sorry. How feasible is it to turn the skills gained in this industry into a role as a contractor, freelancer, small business, much like different disciplines of construction work are able to do?
Yeah, so I would say from the manufacturer side, it's a little different. So because from the manufacturer side, you coming in as an electrician, but you're not really an electrician. You're an installer. So, you know, when they call you a mechanic, you're not a real mechanic, you're an installer. You install a part on the wing or on the fuselage or something like that, right? But if you just talking about just like contractor roles, for example, all grade, because we go from grade 1 to grade 9. All grade 9 is basically contractors. They are high skill employees, so they can go out. So for example, we lost a lot of grade 9 to Blue Origin. right? That's another Amazon Aerospace in a sense. So from manufacturing side, I don't really know how that would transfer. But if you're talking about just from the where I am, like from the business side, I don't see what is the difference from me going out to become an analyst for another program or for another company. So yeah.
Thank you, Min.